Hello everyone and welcome back to Clanfolk. It is the third year, first day of winter, and we have many things to do. Now, off camera, I've gone ahead and I've adjusted skills. We're going to be saying goodbye to 4 of the workers, but I'm going to pause it for a moment because there have been some big changes that have come into the game. For those of you who have the game yourself, you will be aware that a rather extensive food update has come through. It has changed quite a lot of things that we already have on the go, but it's added a lot more as well. We've also got a new side table, but one of the big things that has been added is the ability to store seeds a little bit better, and that is largely because we've got so many new things that we're going to be growing. We've got broad beans, we've got kale, we've got onions, and we've got neeps. Now, all of these items have been kind of worked into the food system, and all of the seeds would be things that we could actually feed our animals as well, so it's an extra source of nutrition. But we've, in addition, got roasted onions as well as roasted neeps, turnips, effectively. Roasted onions, that's not something I've generally had, just roasted onions, but I've definitely had roasted neeps before. Going down here, we're going to see there are a few new workshops added. There's the cooking pot. Now, we're going to be coming back to the cooking pot. That one's a special one, and it's pretty much one of the only new things that have been added that we're going to have to pay for. All the others will be unlocked as soon as we've got an example of whatever it is they're made of in our inventory. Now, sadly, whereas new games will start with these crops out in the wild, I can't see any in our game world. Now, it is winter, so it might just be that they wouldn't be showing right now, but it might also be the case that we're going to have to trade for our initial seed crops. So that's something we're going to have to keep an eye out for. But we've also got pluck. And pluck is effectively organ meat, so heart, liver, lungs, that sort of stuff. The other edibles from the carcass other than just the muscle meat. Pluck will be removed automatically as part of the butchering job on larger animals. You can make pluck on the stick, which is the equivalent to cooked meat on a stick, but we can also make it into something a little bit more wondrous. We've also got a seed shelf. That is going to be a really nice one to get up and running as soon as we can. Now, where are you, my lovely? Let's find you. There we go, haggis. Pluck, oat grain, onions. That makes haggis a truly amazing dish. Absolutely adore haggis. Probably way up there along with shepherd's pie in my humble estimations. Now, that is itself a pretty amazing food. Great chieftain, the pudding race. The pudding race, okay, fair enough. We've got vegetable soup as well, which you can have kale, broad beans, onions, and neeps. A bit of water, make some vegetable soup. And we've got haggis and neeps, the best stuff in the world. I strongly agree. Now, it has changed the recipe on the hearty stew. Unfortunately, it has added broad beans, which means that despite our efforts to gather together as much stuff as we could for winter, we're not going to be able to make any hearty stew because we just don't have broad beans, unless we can buy them, which we might be able to. We've also got fish stew here, which uses kale as well. Now, coming back to what I think is the more important of the changes, and that is the cooking pot. A place to make pottage. Some people know it as perpetual stew. A stew with whatever ingredients are on hand. Now, this actually addresses one of my biggest pet peeves with gaming in particular, and that is the requirement to have exactly the right things for a recipe. There have been many times in games where I've had everything but one thing, an easily omittable ingredient. Perhaps you were making shepherd's pie and you had the lamb, you had some peas, you had the potatoes, you just lacked some carrots. Well, in most games it would be like, well, I hope you're going to enjoy eating that lamb raw, because only civilized people get to have shepherd's pie, people who have properly prepared and have made sure they've got at least one carrot to put in there, because you can't have shepherd's pie without carrots. No, that would cause the universe to implode. So you're just going to have to munch those peas straight out of the fridge, eat your raw potato, and just gnaw the leg of the lamb while it's still alive and baaing at you. This goes some way to addressing that. I love any game that just accepts that, look, I haven't got the exact recipe, but I've still got the majority of the ingredients, so I'll make something equivalent to whatever I was aiming for. Pottage is the exemplar of this, because there isn't really a recipe for pottages. Literally, you've just got a massive pot. Usually these would be made by small communities, or a very large family would just have a single cauldron of pottage or on the go pretty much forever. That's the whole idea of it. Just be kept on a low heat. You fill it with water. You make a stock out of it, maybe a couple of carcasses from rabbits, chickens, that sort of thing, and then whatever vegetables you have, and you just bring it to a rolling simmer. And then you just keep it like that. And as you take bowls of it out, eventually you top up a bit more water, add some more ingredients as they become available. The idea is you never take it off the heat. So it never cools, it never settles, bacteria never has an opportunity to start growing in it. It's always kept warm. It is always constantly, effectively cooking. It's not exactly the most enriching food, let's say, texture-wise especially. Everything is just kind of broken down into a slot, but it's very, very filling, and it pretty much lasts forever and allows you to use every last little bit of food that you have to make something that can keep you going that little bit longer. And I think this is the perfect game to have something like that in it. Now, as I mentioned, we're going to have to say goodbye to a bunch of our workers. Now, I'm a little bit sad to see a load of them go, but we have to do it. Now, in terms of I really wish I could see how much they cost and perhaps their age up here. But right now, we don't have anyone who's even close to being ready to take on a partner yet, so we don't need to worry about their ages. The main thing is we want to say goodbye to people who are fully satisfied and have a particular skill set that we don't really need for what we're going to be doing. So, for example, we've got 2 extra farmers here, Kristen and Christine. How fantastic. Same clan as well. We definitely don't need farmers. It is winter. There's not going to be any farming to do. So, Christine and Kristen, both of you can head out. Thank you very much. And you can go together. That way you can keep each other company on the long road ahead. Say hello to your clans from us. Now, the next 2 that we're going to be saying goodbye to, I think we're going to be doing a decent amount of crafting and having someone who will do a ranger and also a rancher. We definitely want the rancher, Mary here. Henriette and Hector are set up as rangers. So they'll just do, they're the primary ones to do mining and lumbering. So I kind of want those skills present here. I think Lachlan is a caretaker. Actually, no, they are not a caretaker. What have you been set up as? Were you set up as anything? I'm looking through your skill list here, and I don't actually think you were. I believe... Oh, no, we changed around the hauling and the cleaning as the priorities. I decided that hauling was a higher priority than repair because so many people do repair and so many people did cleaning as well. I would like to actually keep you, so I guess the person we're going to say goodbye to, we could say goodbye to Rebecca. We don't need an extra cook. It is nice, but I don't strictly think we need it, and probably say goodbye to one of the rangers as well. So let's have a quick look then. It was Rebecca we were saying goodbye to, and either Hector or Henriette. You're very, very good, but you also cost 90 a day. You're not so much better that I'm going to keep you around over Henriette. I think we're fine with Henriette, and Rebecca, you can also head off as well. Thank you ever so much for all of your help. It has been a pleasure having you with the clan for this past month, but past season. But going into winter, I think we need to cut back a little bit on the amount of outgoing money. It isn't even the food, though. Seeing that we've got a full year's worth of food in our larder is always very, very nice. But it was primarily the outgoing cash that was the problem. Now then, for today's to-do list, let me scroll up my to-do list on the second monitor. I'm sorry that things are going crazy over here. Right, we want to finish building up the family cottages. That's going to be a fairly high priority for us. We're also going to finish the merchant and job at reception area. Another decent priority, especially with snow, will cause so much damage to goods that are just left out. But then the third priority, kind of sliding in there above Chicken Coop now is we need to make a proper place for the farms come come spring. We're going to want a place for storing all of the different types of seeds. We're going to want a water pallet. It doesn't really matter if it freezes over winter because we're not going to be using it in the winter. We do want fertilizer to be gathered there, and we also want a threshing workshop and any other garden kind of focused workshops. But okay, that being said, we've got a bunch of things we need to work on. Not too many in here, actually, thinking about it, which I'm fairly happy about. We've got a lot of rawhide that needs to be mounted on the walls. We also have... what are we waiting on here? We need some extra logs. So I'm going to get to work chopping down some extra trees and preparing a roof over the other cottage. And once all of that's done, then hopefully we can get to work decorating that out. I shall bring you back when there's more to report. We have unlocked tartan. That didn't take very long. So the new thing is we've got tartan available to the clan, and suddenly we can make tartan everything, including the rugs. Something that we will probably be doing in the house. Let's actually have a look. What kind of decor is tartan? I can only imagine it's much, much higher. So that's 50 indoors, whereas this is 25, so it's literally twice as much. 200 versus 100. Yeah, it's pretty much just double the straw mat. We've also got the standing banner. Display your clan's colours. Just something that we can have outside, which will actually be quite nice. A wall tartan. That's indoors environment of 50. So that's equivalent to the rawhide. So early on, you're probably going to want to keep to the rawhide just because that's going to be much more plentiful for you starting out. But later, you're going to probably want to switch over to tartan, at least in some rooms at the very least. Okay, we've still got a fair bit of work to do. I shall bring you back when hopefully we have managed to make some progress on all of the building work. Okay, it is daytime. It's actually getting on in the day on the second day of winter. We have a couple of traders here. Fantastic. We got some onions. I will happily buy those onions. That is now unlocked. Roasted onions for us. They've also got some ore, and they've also got some dry peat bricks. Do we really need to buy them? I will, just because it's useful for us to do a bit of trading. I'll also buy the wool there as well. I don't really feel that we need all of the lambs that we have. And indeed, their care is a little bit low because they've only just been born. I think we could say goodbye to these lambs for now. Yeah, let's sell them on for the time being. We've got plenty of clothing as well because we've had so many workers leave, so I'm going to bring that back down to 10 across the board. That'll bring us in a little bit of extra cash. Okay, you can head on out. Now, as for you, actually, before we go there, how many clothes am I actually set up to make? How many do we try to go for? It is just to 10, so pretty much where the workers have left and taken and left their clothes behind because we were always making a certain amount of clothes available, I can sell down to that 10 without it pulling more effort away from our workers, or rather from our stocks for making these. That'll bring our cash back up quite nicely. Don't think there's anything else really we want to sell here. I could sell some flax seeds. I don't really think there's a reason to. Ooh, you've got some cheese. I wouldn't mind taking some cheese and some butter since our peeps will enjoy that so very, very much. We could also say goodbye to some of the ash if we really wanted to. I could sell off some bricks as well. It's a fairly easy trade to make there because all of the materials for making it are fairly easy for us to accrue. It's effectively a renewable resource at this point for us, so I'm happy to do that one. There we go. We've also got some chickens as well. Do I want to keep any of you around? I think I don't need that chick. There we go. That brings us up to 1,300. I would like to see that get back up to the 2,000 mark before we take our eyes off that one. But for the time being, we've got an awful lot of materials that I need sorted around. My lord, so much of this is just rocks. Okay, fair enough. Let's go ahead and make some more storage pallets for that then. The rocks are right there. I always manage to miss them. Let's go ahead and build 4. That should take care of the majority of this, and then anything else can just be left out there. In terms of the flower, it pains me to see the flower outside. It really does. But we have unlocked onions, which I'm actually very, very happy to see. Let's go ahead and see about these. Do I need it for anything? No, I need broad beans for the hearty stew, sadly. So, okay, if we've got onions to roast, then we may as well roast them. Let's go ahead and, much the same as the others, let's take this up to about 10, I think. And we'll leave it at that. I don't think there's... well, actually, we'll make for 20 there. Sure, okay, we'll take this one up to 20 as well then, just to keep a similar amount. But we don't really need that many roasted onions, I shouldn't imagine. The various meals now actually have an additional stat as well. If I go into ideas, it'll be easier to see. You see a food... let's see, where would that be shown? There is a food desirability stat. I think cheese has 100%, so if it's available, they're 100% likely to desire that food. So if you've got several with a high 100% desirability, they'll pick between them. But for example, bread only has a desirability of 25. If they've got a choice between a whole wheel of cheese or a loaf of bread, they're going to eat the whole wheel of cheese. I like to believe that it's the entire wheel of cheese that they're gobbling down. Or the whole stick of butter. Just nothing else, just a whole, just shove it in their face. Ah, marvellous. Now, with that done, I noticed we had 2 points that we could invest in a couple of other things. Specifically, I would Bros for the way has only got 75% food desirability, which is an interesting one. It's time for us to unlock the cooking pot. There we go, a place to make pottage stew with whatever ingredients are to hand. Takes quite a lot of materials to go into it, but I think it's going to be well worth us setting this one up. Let's have a look at where we can pop you. How big of a... Yeah, of course you're going to be massive. What was I expecting, I guess? What was I expecting? I guess, at the moment, I could take these down. Sorry, I mean to... Well, do I want to break it down? Do I just want to take it down? I think I'll just take them down, because eventually we're going to want to go back to having these there. And I'm going to move the pottage cauldron up here. I think it would be the best place. Ah, fantastic. You finally got the peat stove up and running in here. That is marvelous, because the heat in here was a little bit low during the first proper night of winter. It got down to about 4 degrees in most of the rooms. I imagine them having to cuddle up very, very close to try and keep warm through that. Right, we only want chamber pots to be stored there. And other than that, everything else, this is now more or less a completely functional house. I would like to get this torch made, so go ahead and build that as an 8, just because it's nice to have proper lighting in there. But with that done, 'tis time for us to start work on the roof over here. Now, what kind of roof did we have on that place? It was tile as well, so it's going to be fine for us to do here then. There we go. And I'm just going to follow the design of the walls. Now, I have been wondering if we really do need 2 toilets for a single family. I like the idea of it, because it means that even if one gets full up and they run out of like manpower, like they're on their off time, and they won't empty the chamber pot, they've still got the other one to use. It's kind of more of a backup, but it does use up an awful lot of space. I do wonder about that one. But down here, I can see there's plenty of bros being brought out. Lots of bros being brought out, actually. And that's probably the only thing we're going to be seeing for a little while. So I'm going to actually restrict how much they can put out. They can have 4 stacks of bros brought out. I think that should be good enough. We've already got all of these delicious things brought up here. The onions, let's actually have a look at that. How much food do you get from a roasted onion, I wonder? Where we're going to find you? Right all the way up here. 1,500 food, to be fair. It's a desirability 100% item. Yeah, sure. Okay. Am I going to let you guys have roasted onions? No. I'm also not going to let you have cheese or butter. You can have bros or you can have stew when stew is available, but other than that, I would prefer it be kept fairly simple. I guess I could allow you to have some bread there as well. Sure, we'll pop some bread up there. Now, have the any wolves just been taken out? Because if so, we might be seeing our first pluck generated. Doesn't look like it. Sad to say, but okay. Right, well, I've got a bunch of work to be done on getting the roofing tiles over there. We've also got a fair bit of work to be done on this little house. I really do hope that we are going to get to making the garden. The farming workshop and storage area. But obviously, I'm not going to prioritize that over the essentials. It would be great if we could get to it, and if we can't, then it's just going to be something that we're going to be working on in the beginning of spring. But for now, this is going to be good enough. Poor Bruce's having a rough time, afraid of the dark. Child labour, entertain, private room, darkness, fear. I don't think they're able to properly sleep because of their concern. They do appear to be hungry as well. They're a little bit hungry too. Alright, Brutus, you know what? I'm going to do you a solid. Let's get you a little table for your room. We'll have maybe something like that. Well, actually, we can't put it there, unfortunately. Maybe something right next to the bed. Maybe a little bedside table for you to have. No, not that one. Have we got anything a little bit better? Maybe we could have that one there. No, I think the little tile table is probably the best one. We're going to pop that there. We'll hopefully have a rushlight on that for you. And that will be able to keep you safe through the witching hour whilst the wolves are howling. The children of the night are making beautiful music outside. You will have your light to be safe by. Okay, traders have started showing up. It looks like these are the only ones that we're going to be getting today. And we have some neep seeds. Yes, I will absolutely take that. We've now unlocked the ability to grow neeps. We'll also take some pluck as well, because that'll unlock a couple of things. But just having seeds at all unlock the seed shelf. I was quite worried that it was going to require something very specific to unlock, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. So I'm really, really happy that we've already managed to get ourselves the neep seeds taken care of, if nothing else. Now, other than that, do we have anything else I want to sell on? Not really. Most of our clothing is actually being used at this point, so we'll just keep allow people to keep going with that. In terms of our full clan, we've got exactly 10 people, so having 10 of everything is going to be perfect for them. So we'll say goodbye to... Well, actually, no, we will take the logs. Definitely going to take the logs. That is going to be a useful thing for us to purchase. I guess, given that, then I will say goodbye to one of the chicks. There we go. And what have you got over here? You've got some more butter that I could purchase if I really want to. I don't think we will, but I will take the flax fibers since we're not going to be able to make any more flax fibers through winter. That is not going to be an option for us, unfortunately. As far as our cash crops go, bricks and tiles. Let's not sell the tiles because I am going to need those for the roof. There we go. That brings us back up over 1,000, but it is unfortunately quite easy for us to lose that money down below the 1,000 mark. I really do want it to be back up over 2,000 if we can possibly get it there. Now, as far as the cooking pot, the only thing left is some clay bowls, branches. Well, okay, there's a lot of things left, it seems. But we're going to want some clay bowls then. Let's go ahead and make another 10 clay bowls. We'll pop some in either one of these. We have pretty much got those running constantly at the moment. Terminal Surround out here doing a little bit of gathering. Nice. You're up to level 4 in gathering and level 4 in lumber. That is amazing. Kid Brain working pretty hard there. Where is young Brutus Salazar? Master Salazar, you don't know a whole lot yet. You're good at repairing. What are you focusing on? You're currently taking care of this job, which is a planting job. That does make sense, yeah. You're also okay with hauling, but you haven't really started properly getting into the trade that we want you to eventually work towards. Now, we have got pluck and haggis available, so let's go ahead and set this up. We'll have that one be taken up to 20 as well. There we go. And as for haggis, well, obviously, we pretty much want this forever. We will make 10 haggises. We'll aim for that for now. Obviously, with the onions as they are, I guess there's really no reason to do that over the haggis, but we'll keep that where it is. Haggis should be eaten up first. Haggis, of course, will be available for you to eat once we've actually got any haggis at all to show. I'm actually going to take roasted onions off. That should be a food that we'll eat if we need to, but otherwise I'm not going to worry too much. We've got plenty of bread down here. I'm happy for them to bring the bread because, frankly, we've got enormous amounts of grain. We shouldn't have to worry about that one at all. Though perhaps I could fill this with something else other than bread. I could just go for bros instead. That wouldn't necessarily be the worst thing in the world, and that would also allow us to increase the amount that we're making. So sure, let's go take this all the way up to 30 bowls of bros made a day. That's going to be a little bit wild. We probably are going to see some wastage, sadly. Oh, no. Of course, yes. Don't auto-build. Please do not use this place to cook. This place is for the family to keep warm only. Right, let's also bump up the priority of that bed. We want to get a light in there for Brutus so that he'll have a nice night's sleep. It's an awful thing not being able to sleep properly. Well, it is well past midday on the 4th day of winter. It doesn't look like we're getting any traders today. That isn't too surprising. It is a pretty rough walk to the clan. But one thing that I am very happy with is we have just finished the cooking pot. Now let's have a quick look at what we do in here. So requires 12 raw meat and 24 basic food, requires 12 charcoal and 60 water in total. That's one water jug. Food is 1,000 per second. Okay, well, I'm going to pop that one up as a nice, healthy 8 priority. Well, actually, maybe I'll pop it down to a 7. As far as the foods that we're going to allow in here, I'm going to say mushrooms are allowed. Does it have to be raw foods? It does look like it'll likely be along those lines. I don't want any of the broad beans used, kale, or neeps, or, well, actually, I guess if they've already been harvested, it's fine. It's more that I would probably want these in the future for better meals. So I will actually restrict those for now. I'm okay with using mushrooms as it is. If they've not already been dried, then that's fine. We'll use berries, and sure, go ahead and use all of that, the rest of that food there. This should be a priority 8, so this will get priority. The main thing is I want my main kitchen to have priority on food type. So if I can turn that meat into something more useful, perhaps a much larger meal, then I would rather do that. But for the time being, this should be rather awesome. We've got plenty of bros being made now, so people are generally eating in the right places, and hopefully once this is made, they'll also go straight for that. Now, the other thing that I have been busy doing, though you'd be forgiven for thinking that I haven't been busy doing it, considering how much more work there is still to do, is at this point, I see no reason for us to have any of these sackcloth items around. There is really no particular reason to be going for these. No one likes wearing them. They're itchy. They're not even particularly good at what they do compared to our other alternatives. So we're just going to be focusing on the linen and the wool at this stage. So I've been slowly moving around, finding where clothing has been stowed and destroying it if it's sackcloth of any kind. We don't store anything down there, so it'll probably now just be... oh my lord, you've just been hoarding all of the sackcloth items. Why? Have you got a weird thing about sackcloth? Do you just prefer sackcloth terminal serenity? I mean, you know what? Each to their own, but I'm afraid you can't have it, because I actually do want the straw for other things. But maybe in the future we'll make you an entire sackcloth outfit, and you can have that all your own. I won't judge. Let's have a look in here. Oh my lord. Okay, I see where you're getting it from. You got it from your parents. You've just been copying what they do. I had no idea why they've been hoarding all of the sackcloth, but finally, at long last, there shouldn't be any more sackcloth left around. Oh, that's so much faster. Why wasn't I doing it this way before? There we go. Just double click, and then you have to... You do have to specifically list every... Oh, would it not select all of them? That's bizarre. Okay, fair enough. We'll go for these ones. But we'll go through all of them, and then that's it. I'm no longer producing any. I haven't been producing any for a little while, so I shouldn't imagine that we're going to have any further problem with that. That's all gone. Ah, fantastic. We've got the rushlight in there. Okay, finally, Brutus is going to be able to have a proper snooze when they want to. Terminal Serenity just lined up, very upset at having lost all of their sackcloth items. Their precious sackcloth hoard. I'm so sorry. If I'd realised it would bum you out this much, I would have let you keep some, but we do need the straw. Though you would be forgiven for thinking we don't, consider they're just leaving it there, but here we are. Right, we have got 6 uses left. I wonder, can they keep topping this up automatically, or is it a one and done sort of thing? Once it's been... once it's gone through the 6th, then they will make another full batch. I would love it if it were possible to have multiple uses and they would just top it up as necessary. That would be truly wonderful. And from talking to the dev, I think that's what they would aim for. Whether or not that is what we're going to get all comes down to how practical that is to code, but hopefully this will be nice. I don't know how... oh, no, Elron and Cats, looks like you're having the first use. Well done. Capacity is 0%. Okay, well, we'll see how that can go. But I don't know what the food preference setting is for it, so I couldn't tell you how likely they are to go to that if they've got other options, but hopefully they will actually try for that one. There we go. For the first night in for as long as they can remember, Brutus Salazar is not jumping at every suspicious noise, isn't worried about letting their feet dangle over the edge of the bed. The light is reassuring them that they are in fact safe. In your uncle and auntie's room, no less, I'm going to have to make sure that we actually get you a nightlight in the other place, so you really won't want to move back. That would be rather unfortunate. It is morning, midwinter, and Archibald has come bearing gifts. Some amazing gifts, actually. We've got kale seeds, and we've also got kale. That is absolutely fantastic. I will happily take that off your hands. Now, what can you take off my hands? Because, frankly, we're getting a little bit shy on funds. And I don't want to eat into the planks again, because it just means that we're not going to be using our wood for the things that I actually want to use. So I think at this point, we're going to have to start selling the linen cloth, because we're not going to be making any more linen shirts. Instead, well, that being said, I could increase the amount of linen clothing that we make, but I think we're just going to sell the cloth. It goes for a decent amount of cash, so that should be okay. Thank you very much indeed for that, Archibald. Now, how are our pets doing? They're doing okay. It is getting bitterly cold in the nights, but we seem to be holding on. We have now got kale, so if we've got fish, which I'm not sure we do, sadly, then we would be able to make some fish stew, but no, it doesn't look like we're going to be able to do that. We have emptied out our stockpile of items for making pottage. I mean, I'm not necessarily against it, but my lord, that is using up our food stocks shockingly well. That being said, we definitely want fish stew to be available if we have the means to do it, so let's pop that up at the nice, comfy 10 to be made and kept at all times. Now, how's the rest of things going? Well, actually not too bad. By the looks of it, Amir is actually getting over to the building over here, which I'm very happy with. We've got another trader as well. What do we got over here? You've got some clean wool. I will happily take the clean wool, because I can turn that into something amazing. We've got rawhide to sell, but we've still got places where rawhide hasn't been set up yet, which is an odd one. Are we still storing any flour outside? We are, so I'm going to sell 100 flour. There we go. We'll get rid of that. That way we can bring the flour in from the outside. That should be good for us. Now, that being said, I don't want these outside. I need those seeds to be stored inside, else the animals can go for them. That is a worry. Let's have a look at our animals. I think for the time being, we're going to keep the sheep that we've got. We want more and more wool at all times, especially now that we can turn that into plate. But okay, with that done, let's go ahead and get some storage. How big is the seed shelf right now? Where is the seed shelf? There we are. Oh, it's actually quite small. All right, that's very, very welcomed. Okay, we can pop 2 of these in there. That shouldn't be too much of a problem. I'm going to need a bunch of bowls, straw, twine. That is fine. Let's go ahead and gather up the bowls. We're going to want a couple more to be made then. Let's go ahead and tell each of you to make another 5. And then combined with the excess bowls that we have lying around. Because I've always made sure that there has been a bit of an excess. We should be good. Alright, there we go. No more sackcloth that I can see being stocked up. But Amira and Kyra are moving actually quite well. Kyra, how are you doing at the moment? Oh, you are very, very ready to give birth. I suspect that we're going to be seeing our new child this night. That's going to be an amazing one. Hopefully these get torn down at some point as well, because I wouldn't mind getting the wicker from that. Though I think it's just made of straw, isn't it? Oh, well, straw and a couple of branches. So yeah, wicker in a way. Right, well, with that done, things seem to be making a bit more progress at the moment, and we're definitely starting to see more of this come together. That being said, we're going to need to pop in a couple of windows. We hadn't done that up... Oh, going to need to dig in there as well in order to be able to fit the window in. Let me go ahead and designate that job to be done. Someone should be along then to take care of it. We'll just dig that far in. That should be enough. How's everything else going over here? Oh, we've actually taken out all of the clothing from there. That's a bit of an interesting one. What priority are these? These aren't a very high priority. That being said, I didn't want them to be, thinking about it. Because if you make a high priority, then all of the clothes will go to it. And that's not really what we want. We kind of want them all... see, exactly. They're all being pulled down here. Maybe we just don't want wardrobes in each and every room. It's a bit of an excess, really, when you think about it. Are they pretty objects to have? That would be a redeeming feature, I suppose. If I can even find wardrobes in here. For some reason, I have a devil of a time looking. Yeah, they're not even that pretty. So maybe I should take these out and just have clothing baskets. Or maybe just a single wardrobe at the entryway. Though that would necessitate moving some things around. It's a bit of a shame. I like the idea of each person having their own wardrobe, but there's no real concept of ownership in this game. It's not that person's clothing, it's just clothing that the clan has, and whoever needs it can grab it and then it's theirs. So, whilst on one hand that's actually a wonderful idea, but on the other it does mean that you can't really have people storing their clothes in any particular place, which is a bit of a shame. Right, well, there's still plenty of things to do. It is evening on the 5th, and I will bring it back either to the morning of the 6th or to a new baby, a new member of the clan. We shall see. We've got 3 travellers tonight. Nice. Matthew, Agnes, and Malcolm. 3 travellers. A clan member about to give birth. Middle of winter. Huh. Is there a particularly bright star out tonight? Aavak has been born. To the sounds of wolf cries, it's actually fairly early night. It is definitely not the witching hour. But where? What? Do you have something against this baby basket rather? Why is this where? I don't even. All right. Well, Kyra just decided, like, look, okay, I've just been through labor. The last thing I need right now is a crying baby. So you're going to go and stay with your auntie and uncle. Look, we're keeping Brutus Salazar over here. It's only fair. Kyra, I have questions. But more importantly, we've also got someone to name. So let's find out who Aavak truly is. Everyone, please welcome Oak into the clan. The latest member, thanks to Chaotricles. And, of course, to your ongoing patron support. Thank you ever so much, Oak. It is fantastically appreciated. Now, can I lock this to you? There we go. That is now Oak's baby basket. What? I have so many questions, Kyra. And none of them are flattering, frankly. But there we are. It's a thing that happened. Day 106, my lord. Right, let's have a look over here. We need branches, twine, straw. These shouldn't be too hard for us to put together. It's just a matter of getting priority to put them together. And Amira is really the one working on all of the building at the moment. And so it might take a little bit of time to get that up and running. How are we doing over here? We're doing okay. The heat seems to be all right in here, so I'm happy enough with that. Brutus Salazar heading out. What are you getting up to? You are probably going to be trying to manage some... Yeah, you're going to be working on the composter. Straw and ash get used in combination there, along with the feces to make fertilizer. And this is actually coming along quite nicely. You've not managed to mine into the wall yet, but we probably will start seeing the roofs going up here very, very soon. Amira has an awful lot of reason to get this done as soon as they possibly can. Because as soon as this is done, they can finally move out of here and in over there. And at that point, I think we might move all of the workers in here. At least they will have a bedroom that is a bedroom at that point, rather than just sleeping in the workshop. I can only imagine that would make them much, much happier. Okay, we've got 2 traders here. We've got some new, some neeps that we can grab. I absolutely will, as well as some pluck. That is fantastic. I'll also take the berries. Oh, you've got leather as well, but I don't think we're going to be going for that. But I'll happily take the berries off your hands. At this point, I desperately need to say goodbye to a couple of the chickens. We're going to be saying goodbye to this rooster. It is now a senior. We're going to be saying, well, we'll keep the healthiest of the babies. There we go. And we will say goodbye to these chicks as well. We really don't want that many chickens to be kept. That will put a little bit too much strain on the food reserves that we've got. That being said, let's have a look. Actually, you know, we've got an awful lot of hay. Still, I think until we've got a chicken coop, we're probably going to be keeping the chicken population at least a little bit lower. Now, what have we got for sale over here? We've got broad beans. Finally, we can get some hearty stew on the go. Or some vegetable soup, you know, whichever you particularly want. We could take the oat chief as well. I am tempted to take the oat chief, I'm not going to lie. Sure, it's only 20 each. We can probably make that back somewhere along here. Sure, we'll say goodbye to a bunch of bricks. There we go. That'll bring it back up a little bit. Not completely replaced, but it's good enough. There we are. Okay, thank you ever so much. We'll get that oat sheaf in, and then we'll probably turn that into grain, and then indeed into flour, should we need to. Now, hopefully we're going to be seeing these finished off in the near future, and then we can get those seeds inside. But while all that's going on, Rory is doing a fantastic job out here helping out. You know, it's not even your primary role, though it is something you're very happy with. So you just didn't have any other jobs to do in that moment, so you decided to use some of your spare time to practice your building, something that you're very, very passionate about. Amira, though, is doing an amazing job over here. I'm very, very happy. Let's go and find where Oak is, though. Where are you, Oak? Let's go and see you. There we are. Let's select you. You're just hanging out in the kitchen. Are you following your mother? No, you're just chilling out in the kitchen. Very well, Oak. You know what you're about. You want to be where the food is made. I can appreciate that. Right, we've got vegetable soup. Are we ever really going to be wanting to make vegetable? My God, it's got a lot of food, but I would say no. Actually, compared to these others, not as much. 8 vegetable soup, movement speed, plus 30% for that one. Wow, eating fish? My goodness. 8 fish stew gives a massive experience bonus. I am very, very impressed. We've got roasted neeps over here. Doesn't really have any effect, but haggis, though. Mood boost, work boost, satisfaction. 1 per second satisfaction. It appears that I need to be serving our guests haggis. Duly noted, game. Duly noted. I would like 10 of these, so go ahead and we get as much of that as we can. This is set up to store anything, I suppose, but can we actually store these new foods in here? We don't really know. We don't really store any kind of prepared food in these areas, and that's something that we should probably change. I don't want that over there. I would very much like it over here, though. I'll make sure that that is all being added properly. We do not want any of the raw foods to be stored in the middle at all. That looks about right. Yeah, okay. Well, I'm going to have to copy these settings over. I'll do that now, and we'll let a little bit more time pass. Again, winter isn't exactly the most interesting of seasons, just because everything that can be done in winter takes a long time to be done. It's kind of like an Entmoot. We have got 2 idea points, and there's been something that I have been eyeing up for quite some time. And no, it is not a new tool, though they are definitely way up there. The thing that I've been waiting for is the Bog Iron Crusher. Okay, so let's go ahead and unlock this. This crushes bog iron to produce iron ore for the bloomery. It is flour built to medium, so I can't place it next to other flame spitting items, so probably around here would be a reasonable enough place for me to pop this. So we're going to move these along for now. It is a 2x2 structure, so we're going to need to shimmy all of these right over there. Probably add another couple of them if I'm perfectly honest. And once that is done, we'll be able to slide this in here. Now, the way this works is once you've got it set up, they basically take the raw bog iron we've got there. I think they need 25 of it. They crush it into iron ore. Where do you get bog iron? Well, it actually regenerates. Every time you dig up a bit of peat, you get a small amount of bog iron, like 1. But initially as well, you can gather stones from a bog, and when you do that, you'll get bog iron. I've also decided to take out a lot of the tree stumps from nearby because they are going to give us logs, and right now we desperately need those. But bog iron is going to be a big upgrade for us because it's going to unlock getting more iron out there again. We still need another axe. We're just down to 2 out of the 3 axes that I would like. And not only have we had a new baby clan member, but we've also got a new baby pupper. Let us find out who Chaoticles has decided to bless with this. Lady Wolfheart. What a fantastic name for a deerhound. I mean, it would only have been better for a wolfhound, but nevertheless, Lady Wolfheart, welcome to the clan. I hope you have a long and happy life here. We're going to need to find some better places to pop down your bedding, really, aren't we? Let's go ahead and... let's see. There we go. I guess we could have a bed over here. Sure, we'll pop one in there right next to Persephone's bed. Lovely. Persephone's getting a bit long in the tooth now, though. I imagine some of the fur along her flank is starting to turn grey. It's going to be a sad day when Persephone is gone. Right, we are finally all out of nails, so there's no more progress going to be being made over here on the roofing at all. We definitely need to get some more iron coming in, and to do that, actually, we've got all the bog... we've got all of the bog iron there. Fantastic. Okay, so we now just need to wait for all of these things to be moved so I can set up the crushing of the bog iron. I am very quickly losing any confidence that we're going to see even progress being made on this particular building, but if we can get the new cottage at least sealed off, and with a full roof and the decorations starting to go down by the end of winter, I will consider that a massive victory for the clan. Especially because that would mean going into spring, our workers would have their own bedroom, at least if we only keep the 4, which we might do for a little while. The coin is not flowing as freely as it once did, and if we have a look at our workers, they are commanding a hefty wage. 73 is the highest there. Oof. The 8th day, we have 3 traders with us. Let's have a quick look. Oh, you've brought some nails. Thank goodness. I will take those as well as the onions. That was a rather expensive trade, though. Not going to lie, it's kind of a painful one. We may need to say goodbye to some more of our animals then, given that. Let's have a quick look. Have we got any particular... sheep to say goodbye to right now? Not really, but we could say goodbye to these 2 pregnant ewes. That might not be a bad move because that does carry an awful lot of cash. Would trade hands with that. We could say goodbye to... Sure, we'll say goodbye to that pullet there, and then all of these. We're really going to thin out our chickens. We're down to 1 rooster and 3 egg-laying hens now. I think that would be decent enough. Alright, goodbye to you. Let's have a look over here. We've got some eels that I could grab. We've got some pluck that I could take. Don't really need any of that, frankly. I could, however, sell some seeds. I could sell some hay. We've got an awful lot of hay, and we're over halfway through winter now. I don't think we've got to worry too much. I'll sell some of the linen cloth. Are we good with the linen? Yeah, we are. Sure, I'll sell the hay down to 1,000. So we've gotten rid of a decent amount there. Well, just a little bit over 1/3 of the amount that we had. It didn't get a lot for it, but every little bit helps right now. We'll say goodbye to you. And finally, what have you got for us? Nothing much. You would like to take... a puppy. Of course, I understand, but no. We will not be selling you any of our puppies. We'll sell you some of the bark, though, and the rushlights. Don't really mind saying goodbye to those. We can, of course, make a killing with the tiles and, indeed, the brick. There we go. Back over 1,000. Thank goodness, because I was getting a little bit worrisome. You have got beans to buy, though. I will go ahead and I'll take those seeds. That'll give us a bean patch. Fantastic. Hopefully we can get all of that food inside right away. Right now, our focus remains on getting the cottage together. And we're actually getting a lot closer to that now. And hopefully these nails will get us a little bit closer still. As long as we can seal off the whole structure, then decorations can begin. We can start as simply as just throwing down a heat source in there, following that up with a couple of bedrooms as well. But speaking about heat sources, we are out of peat. How on earth did that happen? I took my eyes off the prize on that one. I was quite overly secure in our access to peat. That is going to be a problem because tonight is going to be a cold one. So I'm definitely going to have to set up a fair bit of peat to be gathered, I think. So going to set down those jobs. Hopefully we can get a decent amount of it brought in and indeed dried before the night gets too cold. We do have fires in every place where someone is sleeping, so at least that will help keep things going. Especially the main workhouse has got several sources of heat in the kitchens and such. But yeah, tonight's going to be a bit of a rough one. We definitely need to bring in all of those peat bricks as quickly as we can. Well, it's going to be a very cold night. Thankfully for the guests, they have a fireplace and also an entire barn's worth of animals sharing their body heat with them. But still, it is going to get very, very cold. I wouldn't even be too surprised to see the water freeze overnight. Hopefully, it doesn't get quite that bad, but given how low the temperature is getting, that taking the eyes off our peat supplies is going to be a very, very costly mistake indeed. However, we do have 75 peat bricks. They are drying out nice and fast, but now that that fire has gone out, yeah, the temperature has dropped very sharply and will continue to do so. We are definitely going to see this. Oh, who was it? Did your tongue get stuck? Persephone of all of the cats, but it is the morning, so thankfully it's going to start warming up a little bit and people will start rushing out now to relight the fires. But that was a bit of a rough night. Okay, let's try and make sure that we get peat ready for tonight at the very least. It is the 9th of winter, 1 day away from the end. And one of the first rains of the coming year are falling right now. It is, well, it's just gone midday on the 9th day of winter. And we have a trader here with bunches of cheese and plenty of seeds. Now, the seeds are shockingly expensive, but obviously we do need to take them. But I've got plenty of tiles and bricks with which I can top things back up. So let's go ahead and sell all of that down there. Back up over 1,000. That's good enough for me for now, at least. Thank you very much for your visit. We've still got another... Oh, no, actually, that's just the trader who's leaving. We don't have another trader on the way. Well, these things happen. Again, there have been plenty of days where we've had no traders at all. Ah, fantastic. We're getting all of these things moved. Right. Okay. Did I just tell you to copy them? Oh, I must have... I don't know. I don't think you moved those along. Anyway, nevertheless, let's go ahead and get ourselves a bog iron crusher set up right about there. That would be wonderful. There we go. Let's get all of that on the go. Sadly, we were 3 tiles off from having at least all of the areas where heat might escape built up. It wouldn't have really mattered if we left the tiles that were on top of the walls not get constructed, and perhaps I should have prioritized them given that, but it would have annoyed me that they were there anyway, because then you'd be asking the question, well, how is the roof staying up anyway? But we've just got 3 tiles that we need to get done. Once the bog iron crusher is set up, then we should probably see that be finished fairly quickly afterwards. Given that, I'm going to bump up the priority of the bog iron crusher to a solid 8. And tragically, one of our ewes just died of old age. It is now too warm. How ironic. Getting old, well, I suppose that the body might be, the carcass, so hopefully that will get butchered and we'll have some mutton for this evening's meal. We have managed to remove some more of the buildings in here, so we can go ahead and copy another building across. Let's go ahead and get one of those in here. Where are we? Pantry shelves. There we go. This will, of course, be for any raw vegetables, which hopefully in the following year we're going to have quite a lot of, though I am starting to realize that we probably do need to thin out the amount of dried mushrooms that we've got. Given that, I will allow dried mushrooms to be placed on the serving tables. There have been some nights when we just haven't had any bros for our guests, and that really can't be allowed to stand. So I'm going to, for the time being, allow them to store dried mushrooms there. We don't need to worry about the mushrooms going off. They're dried mushrooms. They'll never go off. Mushrooms are somewhat overpowered, really, when you think about it. Right, as for the iron ore, we pretty much, actually, we want this made forever. If there is 25 bog iron, then it should be turned into iron ore pretty much as soon as it's available to be done. And with that, I will pop this down to a priority of 5, just the same as the others. We've actually got nowhere to store that meat and egg. What do you mean? Nonsense. Let's get that inside right away, please and thank you. Why on earth is that not being stowed? How curious. Ah. The question has been answered. These are all on priority 3, whereas this is a priority 5, and this one just needs to be removed, frankly. There we go. But this area here, that needs to be a priority 2. That way the meat and other, if there's a better storage space for them, it should all be moved over there instead. There we go. We've got a solid 3 guests this evening with us, and let's have a look at the temperatures. It is quite warm in there, despite not having the fire on, though it is cooling down shockingly fast. I wonder why the fire wasn't lit. Are we struggling for branches? No, not really. And there we go. Winterblade has sadly passed on. Unfortunately, I don't believe we can, in fact, bury our livestock. Livestock is always considered livestock, not considered pet, so I don't think we can bury Winterblade. But don't worry, Winterblade. Your last act upon dying is to help sustain the clan with your delicious, delicious body. I mean, I'm sure they will cry while they're eating you, but eat you they will. Here we are, Henriette, crushing the bog iron into usable iron ore for us. That is going to be absolutely fantastic. Of course, we've got to first take that to the bloomery to turn it into an ingot, which itself requires 25 iron ore and 10 charcoal. How much charcoal do we currently have? We have got more than enough charcoal. We are fine. But it is the morning of the 10th day of winter. That means traders are here. Now, I could go ahead and buy an iron peat shovel, but I would or rather peat spade. I would really rather use our own peat spades for that, but I will buy the pluck. And is there anything else I would like to purchase from you? No, not really. Okay, well, given that then, you can be on your way. Thank you very much for dropping by, though. Always a pleasure. Let's get the pluck brought in. Hopefully we can get that built relatively soon, but again, the nails are going to be assigned for the roofing as a priority. It doesn't look like we're going to be able to finish that, not unless we are incredibly lucky and we manage to get these nails on the go really, really quickly. Or you're selling nails. You're not, but you're selling the next best thing. Iron ingots and, in fact, iron ore. I will happily take these. I'll also... that's a lot of money, but I will take that as well. Right, we've got 1 rooster. I will keep only 1 male chick. We will... So you're about to stop laying, as are you. Okay, well, I need to slow down the selling of the chicks for the time being, then. Definitely need to hold off on that. As for the bread, though, I could easily sell 10 for 15. Sure, okay, we'll sell you some bread for the road. Doesn't seem like an unreasonable thing to do. Honestly, we could stop taking in travelers and just have our workers use the inn and that be a worker barrack. It's not like the travelers are really making us that much money, but I don't know, especially through winter, which is the time where you would be most likely to make that kind of sacrifice. There is an enormous part of me that feels very, very wrong about the idea of refusing travelers looking for a warm place to stay in the middle of winter. But you notice how at this point the paths are all accessible again and people are getting work done finally because they can move around at a reasonable clip, and that is making for a huge difference to the productivity. The last 2 days always tend to speed up a little bit, but we managed to get through a goodly amount of all of the hay that we had, which is a little bit surprising, honestly. One thing I'm going to do, and this might be a bit of a finicky thing, but I'm going to have these descending in priority, and the reason for that is pretty simple. I want all of the hay to be stored in one place if I can possibly make that happen. I only want hay on these ones. This one can be, well, whatever, but just not hay, so oak sheaf or flax sheaf. That can be stored up there. But these ones definitely, I would like it to all be shunted across. So we've got one full stack and then it kind of moves back as it goes. Purely a visual thing rather than any kind of function. Terminal Serenity, what's your brain like at the moment? What a weird way of putting that. But at the same time, 6 in gathering, 5 in lumber. You've done no mining. That's understandable. You probably have no interest in it, and you might not be strong enough. I don't know if the game even simulates that. You've been doing a little bit of hauling, though you hate it. Understandable. Repairing and a little bit of harvesting. You're doing actually quite well. Let's have a look at Oak. Well, Oak won't be doing any kind of jobs, but where's Brutus Salazar? Let's have a look at you. Hauling is really the only thing you've really got any skills in. And repair, well, actually repair and hauling at exactly the same level, so I don't know why I was focusing on hauling, but still I'm really surprised that you haven't had more opportunity to learn. That being said, it's quite likely that there's just not been that much ranching to do. We have thinned out the herds coming into winter, so that does make a bit of sense, but hopefully we will, going into spring, we'll have plenty of time to learn there. Right, all of the rocks over here, that's fine, they're all storing. Same with the masonry places. There we go. Right, it looks like the nails are starting to come back through though, so we should see the finishing touches to all of the roofs. Again, if all we have is a finished roof, I think I'll be able to make my peace with that. It's not everything I would have liked, but it certainly is a good bit of progress considering this was the middle of winter. I mean, who builds a house in the middle of winter? Oh, thank you very much for taking care of that. I wasn't aware that you were going to be able to do that from the corners, so I had tasked this with being destroyed. So I'll cancel that job. It seems they can actually reach these spots, which is fantastic news for me. There we go. Are you going to finish these off, Amira? Yes, you are. You can, in fact, reach those. Oh, that's marvellous. In that case, I don't need to do this job then either. Let's get rid of these two. There we go. And there we go. Amira has finished the cottage. Absolute fantastic. I am so happy with this. Alright. Well, given that then, we definitely need to start throwing down the objects that we're going to need. I will start with the tiled peat stove. We'll just pop that into position. And the storage for the peat as well. The dried bricks. On that note, how many have we got in storage right now? Not that huge of an amount, honestly. We've still got a couple more to do. I should probably run a little path down here. Now that does mean the peat won't regrow along that path, but it will be well worth it ultimately if it allows us to move a little bit faster in these areas. I think it's probably worth it. We can have this run down along as well. I could use a dirt path for that rather than a mulch path. And there is something to be said about that, except a dirt path can't... no, a dirt path can't move over bog. You can have a dirt path over grass, that's fine, but over the bog, it doesn't replace it, I don't believe. Let me just double check that, because I know it can't... No, it can't do it over stone, but it seems that you can only lay things down over the bog, you can't replace it, and that makes sense, because a dirt path is just tramped dirt. Whereas if you did that in a bog, you'd just sink. So let's try and avoid that, shall we? And here we are. It is morning on the 1st of spring, the 4th year of our clan. And whilst things could certainly have gone a bit better through that winter, they could certainly have gone a lot worse. We even have a decent amount of clan reputation coming in. There we go. The next ewes died of old age. Okay, we definitely are going to need to replenish our herd of sheep there, but our flock, but that will be done in time. Now, the cottage is, except for this one piece of roof there, which I would assume that they're going to be able to build, it is all finished. We only need now to start adding in the various objects. So we're going to be starting with the peat stove, the peat stack, and the stone fireplace. And you know what? Following that same pan, we're also going to pop in a branch pile as well. We'll pop that one down there as well. Once we've got all of these together, then we will be able to start thinking about building in some bedrooms. So I have strong hopes that this spring we're going to see our workers move down here. Now, there is the big question. Should I take on 8 workers again? Right now, I'm leaning heavily towards no, and just seeing how well we can do with the 4 workers that we've got, though we may, well, cycle them. They were very, very useful through the winter. As much as it didn't look like much was getting done, a lot less would have gotten done if they weren't here with us. But for now, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to buy a decent amount of nails, a decent amount of iron, some extra onions. Of course, I'm going to buy the onions. As far as what we're going to sell, though, we could sell on some more bread, and definitely going to sell off those rushlight kits. We don't really need those. And let's see the other trader. You've got a bunch of meat. You've got a boar. Not really looking for a boar right now. We've got an awful lot of hide, thanks to a bunch of wolves and foxes, but I would like to turn that into something more valuable to sell, but for the time being, this is good enough. We will have a look at our textile industry, because really textiles has slipped back a little bit over winter and been replaced largely by our ceramics and clay industry. I wonder if we looked at getting the masonry bench, whether the same would happen with stone. Would we be able to make some money selling fine stone? That is a very, very good question, actually. Where is the masonry bench? There's stone blocks there, masonry right there. Okay, well, we could possibly go for that, though it looks like we need to unlock... of course, we need to unlock the stone quarry, which itself requires the iron pick. So for now, we're going to be saying no to that. But what I'll probably grab is the iron peat spade for now, simply because we're going to be having to make much, much more use of that. I don't think there's anything really pressing outside of that in terms of other unlockables. Maybe brick walls will be the next cottage, but that's going to be quite a ways down the road when some of the children that we've got grow up and want to have homes of their own. But look at that, we've even made a fair bit of progress on the structure for our rest stop for the traders and the jobbers. But that is going to be it from me. I hope you've enjoyed this episode and will indeed be joining me for the next. But until then, from myself and all of the clan folk, do take care.